good day, church. This is Pastor Dennis, and I'm here to give you this week's weekly check-in. I wanted to talk a little bit about the importance of Christ the King Sunday, which is taking place this coming Sunday, November 20th, 2022. Now, Christ the King Sunday usually takes place, it is the last Sunday of the liturgical year. The liturgical year usually begins with the first Sunday in Advent, which will take place on November 27th, and it ends on this Sunday, Christ the King Sunday. Now, you might think that Christ the King Sunday, or as some churches call it, Reign of Christ Sunday, is this old holiday that dates back centuries. Actually, it's less than a century old. It was implemented back in 1925 by Pope Pius XI. He came to become Pope in 1922, and that was an interesting time in history if you think about it. World War I had just concluded 4 years earlier. He saw the rise of communism in Russia, and then later fascism in Italy. And not too long after this holiday was implemented, we would see the rise of another fascist power in Germany. And so he comes and puts this together, and he's also doing this thinking about his predecessor, Benedict XV, who had become Pope in 1914, just after the start of World War I, and he did everything he could to try to bring peace and bring people to a negotiated peace, and he failed. So all of that is swimming around in Pope Pius XI's mind, and so he introduces Christ the King Sunday, and it is a challenge to the church to not give earthly powers loyalty, ultimate loyalty, and to remember who is the King, and that is Jesus Christ. It feels like today, a century later, that we need Christ the King Sunday now more than ever. Because, as I said last week, we live in a time where people give politics ultimate meaning, which means that they put it in a way, they put it in the place of religion. And we also have people in power, or who were in power, both here and abroad, who seek to demand nothing short of total loyalty to people. And that loyalty is sometimes even over Christ. And we also have that desire in us, as I said, to make our leaders into gods. And so they become the people who bring salvation. I'm reminded of that song from the late 1980s by the group Living Colour, The Cult of Personality. And it talks about the dangers of putting people into the place of God. And what was interesting about that song is that they reference all these leaders, and some of these leaders weren't bad people, but it was how we view these people and how we gave them ultimate loyalty, and that's dangerous. There are people and ideologies out there that want us to put them first over Jesus. And that temptation is strong for all of us, myself included. And the temptation is there because, let's face it, the Jesus that we worship doesn't look so successful by the standards of the world. This coming Sunday, we're going to be reading from Luke 23, and that's talking about the crucifixion of Jesus. And Jesus is mocked and called a king, but they're mocking him. They're saying he's not a real king. And they always keep saying that he saved others, but he can't save himself. It looks pathetic. But the reality, of course, is, while he may have not been saving himself, he was saving the world. That is the king, and that is the king that we profess to worship. He's not a successful king, at least not by the standards of the world, but he is a king that changed the world and made it better and saved us all, bringing salvation and healing. So this Sunday, as we sit and worship, I pray during this Christ the King Sunday that we can recommit ourselves to the one that showed what it means to be a ruler, to be a leader, to live a life of service, and to be obedient, even as the Bible says, to death on a cross. Take care, dear friends. I'll see you soon.